So for a little while, I considered myself a vegetarian, and I recently read an article. It was about feminism and how a true feminist is vegan, which piqued my interest because I thought, okay, what do the two have in common? And I really hadn't given it much thought before, but it really opened up a part of the industry that I never considered really looking into that much. But anyone who is against veal, the consumption of it, the making of it, the whole thing. If you drink milk, if you eat cheese, you are contributing to it. The veal is a byproduct of the dairy industry, and this is something I didn't know. As a consumer, you think that these things are all separate. That there's, to put it loosely, there's a factory that makes the veal, and there's another one that does the butchering, and maybe the leather industry is tied in, but no one really knows, and it is not. It is separate, which is really wasteful and odd, but it is. So even the meat that you eat, that leather coat you're wearing, doesn't come from it. It's a totally different breed of cattle that is slaughtered just for that purpose, which makes it even worse. Don't think of it like, we do not do things the way native peoples do. I'll just say that. So don't confuse the two. I don't have a problem with native peoples. I have a problem with this modern system. And I think a lot of people do. And those that don't, they just don't know it yet. So, back to the veal. How it's a byproduct. Okay. I was thinking personally of perhaps maybe having a cow for myself and my family. This is all in the future, so I'm just researching at this point. So, okay, so let's say I want to buy a cow for my family so we can have our own milk and be sustainable on our own. How do I go about getting her to produce the milk? And naively, like many consumers, you just don't know. You think that these animals are just born to produce for us, and they're not. Being a woman, I know how the female body works, and it turns out the cow is no different. Oh, terrible traffic. I'm going to be here a while. So, their bodies work exactly the same. She only produces milk if she gets pregnant. And the milk is for her calf. So then you think to yourself, okay, well, if the milk is for the calf, how do I get it? And that's how you get veal. They have to kill the calf. And it's not a pretty scene. Coupled with the bellowing and cries for each other from the mother and child. So you're separating those two while they cry out for each other. And then, of course, the calf, just like the adult, goes through slaughter. So the grieving mother is left to then give milk to a machine. If it doesn't sound perverted to you at this point, substitute the cow for a human and think of how crazy that whole picture will look. I mean, I just can't imagine. And it's normal practice, as if it's nothing. Oh, it's normal if she decides not to eat. Because she's in mourning, you moron. Of course she can't eat. I wouldn't be able to eat either. If I were bound, and because sometimes their legs are bound, but let's say I'm not. Okay, let's say I'm free in my little corral. I have my baby, and then my shepherd, the person who has been taking care of me, takes my baby from me. I'm going to be in mourning. How could I eat? It's impossible. The fact that you can do that and not make the connection is what's so surprising to me. You must be so desensitized. It must be something you do on such a regular basis that it just doesn't occur to you anymore. It's no longer shocking. Because I found it shocking. And so, by me just being a vegetarian and thinking, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm just not okay with the slaughterhouses, so I won't eat the meat, I'll just use the milk. In a way, I might as well eat the meat because I'm still contributing to death. Only, in this case, it's almost worse because it's the death of a baby. Especially right now with this whole abortion thing going on, and yet the same people have no idea of the other things they are contributing to. We're so focused on human rights that right under our noses is this. And if they were my cows, or if they were your cows, let's say you were learning and you're told, okay, she's just given birth, you've helped her have her baby, now you have to kill it. I wouldn't be able to do it. Not only does it seem morally wrong, but I would have to wonder and think, what does that make me? Before, I saw myself as a shepherd. I cared for my herd. I made sure they were safe. I helped her give birth. And now I have to kill her baby. What does that make me? What does she think of me? That here I am about to commit this awful act out of selfishness so that I can have the milk that nature or God, whatever you believe in, intended for her baby. We would never do that to another human being. And yet we seem to have no problem doing it to other beings, other God-given creatures. And if you're not religious, it's just the same. The way nature intended, the way God intended. It doesn't matter the name you want to place it, whatever you believe, it is all the same. And so that is my new epiphany, my new change is now I have a major problem with dairy products, which I didn't have before. But it's really not a problem anymore because when you think about it, there are so many great substitutions for it, and the reality is, when you compare it to the alternatives, dairy really isn't that healthy anyway. We're also concerned with low fat and low calorie and cholesterol. Just look at the alternatives, and you don't even have to worry about that. It's no longer a factor. So that is my new change. It's a great article that you should read. I believe you can find it on Care to Petitions is where I got it from. I'm sure it's floating around the internet in other places, but I believe the title was called True Feminist is Vegan or something like that. But you know, do your own research. Look it up for yourself. Find out for yourself, because that's more powerful than me just telling you what I've come up with. It's not as meaningful. So I encourage you to go out on your own and find your own answer, find your own path, and follow it. And I think you'll be in a better place.